So we're going to do a 3-card angel reading for Matt around transforming some sadness into peace. So what we want to do when we're pulling cards is to ask, we're asking as if it's already done. And because we're tapping into the highest possible vibration. So we don't want to ask, why am I so sad? Because we're bringing in more sadness. We want to ask, how is it that I'm going to feel peace about my childhood experience? Mm-hmm. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, great. All right, and we're working with, I want to give credit where credit is due, the Kyle Gray Angel Guide deck. This is not my deck, but I use it all the time with all my clients. This is the #1 deck because it's a direct message from your guardian angels, and it's clean, it's clear. I just want to say this is so important before we do this. All the messages from the angels are positive, loving, constructive, trustworthy, uplifting. So there's nothing sort of scary or, kind of worrisome or any of that, right? It's always going to be uplifting, peaceful, and positive. So I just want to plant that seed of working with the angels. So we're going to ask, how is it that Matt is receiving his next level of peace around his birth mother and his childhood experience? Okay, so we clear the deck. We knock on it 3 times and then we shuffle. This is a message directly from your guardian angels about feeling more peace. So I'm just going to lay them out. Romance and connection, divine downloads, intuition and downloads, and spiritual growth. Actually, this is the card. This card is actually the front cover of the whole entire deck. So that always has a little significance, each little card. And look at these colors. The first thing I'm drawn to is the yellow and the gold. Do you see that in all of them? Yeah. For some reason, romance and connection, this is about keeping your heart open, letting your heart stay open. When we have that sadness and that grief that we feel like we're carrying from our family, it can close our heart a little bit and close off that intimacy that we want, that we desire. So the first thing your guardian angels are saying is, keep your heart open. Look at that golden light spinning around the heart, and knowing that this is what I'm hearing as you release the sadness, as you release the grief around your experience and your birth mother and all of that, you're going to feel a renewed sense of connection. My sense is to another person, not just the angels, but it could also be the angels, because this is kind of an angel, around this person. This could be about, deepening your intimacy, opening your heart to the next level, knowing that you're safe too. So that's what I hear from this card. Probably more. Sometimes I go to all 3 and then come back. Okay. The middle card is so interesting because Ben mentioned, I said, we're going to get some divine downloads. And he goes, I like that. And then you got intuition and downloads. So what I see and feel from this is you need to pay attention to those moments of peace, right? Pay attention to how, when your angels are communicating with you through your psychic senses. So we have 5, I talk about this in my book, we have 5 channels to the angels. We have 5 channels to the divine. Claircognizance at the crown, which means clear thought or clear knowing. Clairvoyance at the 3rd eye, which is clear vision, clear seeing. Clairaudience at the ears, which means clear hearing. Clear fragrance at the mouth and throat, which is like clear scent or taste. And then clairsentience in the belly. So this is paying attention to all of your intuitive channels, letting the sadness go out of those intuitive channels so they're more open to the downloads and to the further connection that you can have moving forward now that you have this more knowledge about your birth mother and your family. What can you do with it moving forward, right? So we didn't talk so much about this, but this is important to name. When you're working with the angels, it's about asking, right? You have to ask for them to help you. They're here, they're ready, willing, and able, and we have to ask. So I feel this is also about asking for help asking for your intuition to be open, asking for the downloads that can support you in letting go of that sadness, letting go of the grief, the heaviness in your heart, and just being open. And I just love that image, right, of the downloads coming through into the third eye, and then the heart. Look at that golden heart expanding open, another golden heart. And the third card is, to me, very clear that as you let go of the sadness, as you let go of the grief, you're going to feel the sense of spiritual growth. You're going to know that it's sort of like what I was mentioning before about how I almost forgot it was the anniversary of that challenge that I went going to the psych hospital 18 years ago, because I had done so much integration, so much purposeful, intentional healing. And so it's like, know that as you look at this sadness, as you look at the grief, right, through the eyes of your angels, right, through the eyes of your soul, that you will experience the spiritual growth, this awakening to higher, the higher vision of why everything happened the way it happened, how everything unfolded. So we keep asking, what lesson did I learn? What lesson am I learning, right, from this pain? What lesson am I learning from this sadness? Spiritual growth is about having the courage to ask, right? What am I learning? And what am I learning from continuing to hold on to that sadness, to that grief, to that heaviness in my heart? And what are you talked about passing things down. What are we transmuting or transforming for our lineage? So we have to also say, well, am I carrying something that's not mine?
Yeah.
That's part of the spiritual growth, right? It's being able to have the courage to release, the courage to look at what you've been through the eyes of love and through the eyes of the third eye. You see that third eye glowing there? I'm not sure if we can see that third eye glowing, but it's just absolutely beautiful and coming through so joyfully. I don't know how long that took, but I would love to hear how that resonated and what came up for you if we have another minute or two.
Yeah. With the spiritual growth, it feels like, well, I'll say this. So I had learned that there was some alcoholism in the family, my mother and my grandmother too. And so part of me had kind of worried, like, would that happen to me? It was never, ever a problem. Alcoholism for me, never, ever. I barely ever drink. But sometimes, like, in the back of my head, I was like, when I found that, I was like, is that going to happen to me? And also the hardships that they went through too, financially especially. Very, there was a lot of poverty in the family. So sometimes I wonder, will I be going through the same thing? Or can I also say, no, I'm not gonna allow that to happen. So I think it's maybe it's also a confidence issue too at times. But that I think these cards all spoke to me very well. So
yeah, and I think the other part about spiritual growth is finding peace in the pain. Yeah. It's turning, and that's what I do, is I turn me and the angels, right? My practices in my book turn pain into peace, right? By seeing it through a higher perspective, right? To understand the deeper meaning of why we go through what we go through. Yeah. So, beautiful.
Yeah. And I think, finding out this information, and my birth mother, she's passed away. She passed away from cancer in 2014. And I kind of just shoved it down. I didn't think about it, but very recently it's been kind of coming back and it's starting to resonate with me, like, hearing what she went through and then leaving this earth, it was like, it was saddening to me. So it didn't take away, of course, at all in any way how grateful I am for being adopted and the wonderful family that I do have. But it's more of, this is who I biologically came from. And sometimes I wonder, like, I hope that I don't have to go through what she had to. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why you got a different life and a new life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and being so open
Oh,
about
you're
it.
very welcome. Thank you.
And I feel like, the reading keeps unfolding for you, right? So, but knowing that spiritual growth is coming when you trust your intuition and keep your heart open to love, keep your heart open to connection, keep your heart open, right? Keep your heart open to love and the love that we can have from our mothers from the other side. My mother is also on the other side as well. So, just keeping those channels open, so we can keep healing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also this experience for me finding my birth family also helped me to appreciate the life that I have here too. Because I think about if I wasn't adopted, what I possibly could have gone through with some of the other more personal stories.
Yes.
So I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And that's the attitude of gratitude is one of the things I talk about in my book, keeping our hearts open, because that's how our heart is the gateway to our angel's love. And when our heart is open, my whole medicine of my book is about receiving, right? Being able to open up. And how do we receive from our angels? We receive by asking, we receive through our breath, and we receive through intention.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, you're
I feel
welcome.
I already feel more at peace now. So I
Awesome.
greatly
All right.
appreciate it a
And
lot.
we welcome the angels of peace as well
Thank you.
to keep working with you and around you as you move through this. So, yeah, I'm grateful.
I appreciate that a lot. You do such a great job with helping others and recognizing what's at the core, bringing it outward, looking at it face to face, and saying, "How are we going to find peace with this?" And I love it. It's all about the intention, like you said. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm excited to see how this keeps unfolding for you. 'Cause
Yes, me too.
There's more. There's always more.
Because it is exciting. It is exciting.
It
too.
is
Yeah.
exciting, especially the romance and connection, right?
Yeah.
We're starting with that. So, always a good thing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.